African American history in under 3 minutes. African American history is a rich and complex tapestry woven from the diverse experiences of millions of people of African descent in the United States. From the time of slavery to the present day, African Americans have played an important role in shaping the nation's history and culture. The history of African Americans begins with the transatlantic slave trade, which brought millions of enslaved Africans to the Americas between the 16th and 19th centuries. They were denied basic human rights and treated as property rather than as human beings. Despite these harsh conditions, African Americans fought for their freedom and rights throughout the centuries. They formed communities, built churches and schools, and created organizations to advocate for their rights. They also actively resisted slavery through rebellion, escape, and other forms of resistance. One of the most significant moments in African American history was the Civil War. The war, which lasted from 1861 to 1865, was fought between the northern states, known as the Union, and the southern states, known as the Confederacy. The Union fought to abolish slavery and preserve the United States as a single nation, while the Confederacy fought to preserve slavery and secede from the United States. The Union's victory in the Civil War led to the abolition of slavery and the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution, which granted citizenship and voting rights to African Americans. However, these rights were not always protected or upheld. In the years following the Civil War, African Americans faced discrimination, segregation, and violence, particularly in the southern states. Despite these challenges, they made significant strides in education, business, politics, and the arts. In the 20th century, the Civil Rights Movement, led by figures such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks, challenged the system of racial segregation and discrimination. Through peaceful protests, boycotts, and other forms of civil disobedience, the Civil Rights Movement helped to bring about significant changes in the laws and attitudes of the nation. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were two of the most important pieces of legislation passed during this time. These laws helped to end legal segregation and discrimination. And they helped to open up voting booths, schools, and workplaces to people of all races. African American history is a story of resilience and determination in the face of adversity. It is a story of people who have fought for their rights and for the rights of others. Today, African Americans continue to make important contributions to the nation's history and culture.